to the 5th anniversary of the Nutcracker.
I'm Emily and I'm Clara.
I'm Emma and I'm Clara's understudy.
And your other roles?
Oh, and Marzipan, Snowflake, and Waltz of the Flower.
The synopsis of the Nutcracker is there's a girl named Clara and her family is throwing this big Christmas party and her magical uncle comes and gives her a nutcracker. And her mean little sister Louise breaks it. And then Clara's just in a tizzy, her poor little nutcracker's broken, and then he fixes it.
Well, Drosselmeyer, Clara's uncle, comes out and he's kind of known to be very magical. He comes and brings out these two dolls and he kind of gets the girls to wonder about, oh, what do these dolls do? And he brings them to life.
We all dance to their dolls and the party's over, and Clara is so sad that her uncle's leaving, and she comes crying out of the party, and then all the other guests leave, and then she comes back and she sleeps downstairs by the Christmas tree. And she has this dream that the Nutcracker becomes a prince and he comes to life, and there's a battle between the soldiers and the mice, and the soldier wins, so the Nutcracker wins. And then Clara dances with the Nutcracker through the land of the snow, and he takes her to his kingdom, and then all of the people in his kingdom dance for her. And then she wakes up from her dream, and it's very sad at the end.
Our role for the Nutcracker this year is a soldier. They have to try not to smile. One funny part is a soldier shoots a mouse in our dance.
We get to do two dances. We get to do our soldier dance and the battle scene dance.
We have to have very straight legs because we're toys, and normally, and we're supposed to be wooden toys, and wooden toys aren't bendy.
The hardest part is keeping everything straight and not bending, doing weird circle motions, keeping everything straight and pointed.
The hardest part about rehearsals so far has been probably not smiling, because most of us in all the other Nutcracker dances we've done, we got to smile. So
one of the hardest parts is working with the mice, because sometimes they can be a little goofy.
One of the most funny parts is backstage, the mice like to goof around and they like to try and steal our guns and try and whack us with them.
I think the hardest part is probably having to go around everyone, the party girls, when they're in their circle.
My name is Ryan Galloway. This is my second year as a senior performing associate with Giordano Dance Chicago. I'm thrilled that MPA has asked me to come back to be their Nutcracker for the second year in a row, and I'm excited to get things going. So the transition between the Nutcracker into the Prince says that this dream is coming to life, and it brings joy and magic to the audience as well as the dancers, and I'm glad to be a part of it. First time I saw the Nutcracker was last year when I was in it. I had no idea what the story was about, so I kept whispering to Clara, hey, what's going on? She kind of explained it to me, but now I've fallen in love with the story, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
When I first saw the Nutcracker, I was probably 5 or 6, and my mom tells me that I was dancing in the aisle the whole time instead of watching because I just wanted to be up there so bad.
I was probably around the same age, 5 or 6, when I first saw the Nutcracker, and it was a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and in the first act, I'm featured as the soldier doll, which is a very upbeat dance. And I also have some other parts, like Snow, Understudy Rose, and Spanish.
Hi, I'm Megan Hebgen. I am featured as the Harlequin doll in Act 1, as well as Snow. And I'm also in Act 2 as a Demi-Rose.
I guess the hardest part is really making sure you know all your steps and counts, because there's no one else that you can watch to see if you're doing it right. It's all by yourself.
I guess my biggest thing is keeping my arms at a 90-degree angle like this, and then for soldier it's like that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So keeping everything very precise, because like Lauren said, there's no one else to watch. You have to know what you're doing. You have to make sure you look, doll-like, fake.
Hi, I'm Elena, and down in the front here we have party girls. The middle row is the Friends of Clara, and the top are the maids. So the roles for the Friends of Clara is to basically just have a really fun time and sort of just support Clara. There's a part in the scene where Clara will be fighting her younger sister Louise, and we sort of all have to support Clara, and not really Louise because she's immature. So yeah, that's our role, basically, to just have fun and
For the maids, we have to bring out the cakes and present the cakes to everyone and feed them the cakes. And then we also have to give them their gifts and clean up after them and just make sure that the party goes smoothly.
So maids dance with cakes, and it was an extra struggle this year because they had to make 3 new cakes, and some of them are heavier than others and some of them are harder to handle. But one thing we're really working on is tipping the cakes towards the audience so they can see it easier. And we're also, I know today I almost dropped my cake throughout the entire dance, so that's also another struggle. But I mean, it's also really fun to dance with cakes because that's not something you usually get to do.
The hardest part about rehearsals so far is probably some of the parts are really hard, like getting your leg up to 90 degrees and if you're not very flexible. And also it's really hard because you have to be patient because the dance is so long.
So you have to choose your own character. Like my character is being kind of like the silly, lazy maid that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or you could be the really good maid and tell all the kids what they're supposed to be doing and be bossy. You have to choose a character no matter what part you have and really show it.
Mine is I like to stuff cake in my pocket in my dress because I like to eat cake during it and I'm kind of funny, I guess.
So at the auditions, we learned the separate dances that our age groups could do, and then we performed them in front of the judges, and then they decided what part would be best for each of us.
Hi, we're the Chinese, and something that was kind of difficult for me to learn was learning all the different parts.
I think the hardest part, but it was also the most fun, was working with the ribbons because they're not something that you're used to working with, but they're really fun to use.
I thought the ribbons were hard to tie, and I can never tie mine. And then sometimes in rehearsal, when we have to whip it out into this part, it doesn't come undone, so I have to work with it.
I think the ribbons were really fun to work with, but the hard part is making sure that everyone's doing the same thing, because it'll be really obvious if we're doing different things because of the huge ribbons.
We were supposed to get 2 pairs of pointe shoes for this dance because you don't want anything to happen to them and you want to be able to dance good on them. Dancing with pointe shoes it's harder than dancing just with ballet shoes, and in Chinese sometimes it would be hard to get up on our box or do certain things while you're on point.
Our part here in the Nutcracker is the mice. We steal presents. We also skitter around Clara. We're really sneaky. Mouse King fights the Nutcracker. Hardest part of our dance is when we go under the couch and we go behind it and we hide. The hardest part for me is choosing the presents. The hardest part in our dance is to stand up when we're laying down.
We are Russian dancers in the Nutcracker, and it's mostly a high energy dance, lots of jumping and spinning, and more high energy probably than the other ballet dances in the Nutcracker.
The Russian dance is a very high energy movement and dancing, and I would say that there is a lot of clapping in it too.
The hardest part about the learning the dance was probably all the jumps and landing with your heels on the ground for the Russian position.
One of the hardest parts for me is learning the heel click, because I can't get that.
You can look for all the spinning that we do in the dance.
You can look for the face expressions and what our mood is and how happy we are and what our feelings are throughout the dance.
We are from the snowflake dance. It's super fun, but it hurts your toes a lot. And the moves are really cool, and it's really fast, but it's really cool to dance with the snowflakes. Yeah, but sometimes you hit them, but it's okay because they don't break.
I'd say this dance takes a lot of endurance to I guess keep breathing and not die, at least a fourth of the way through like I do. But you always have to be kind of I guess on your toes, not really. You have to always be thinking what's ahead, what's gonna come next, and I don't know, always know what you're doing, and like spatial awareness is a key part, I'd say. There's so many of us.
So for the snowflake dance, we each have 2 snowflakes, one in each hand, and we just hold them. And then in some parts we like kind of like shimmer them and shake them. And sometimes it happens where you kind of hit snowflakes with another girl, but as long as you hold on tight, then they won't fall and then it's all good. But yeah, it's not too different, but it is different enough where you have to kind of be aware of it and be like concentrating on what you're doing and like how it'll change your movement. And yeah, it's pretty fun.
The best part in the snowflake dance is the whole dance, so you should you should look forward to the whole dance because the snowflake dance is really fun and it's the ending of the first act, so it's a huge shebang. But
what we all are in the Nutcracker is angels. We all open the second act of the Nutcracker.
When you are watching the dance, you should look for it's a very graceful dance, so you can look for very graceful moves.
You can also look for, even though when you watch it, it seems like a lot of slow things are happening, there are some things where we are trying to run on our toes, and it's faster, so you can look for that, I guess.
Another thing you should look for is that we are all trying our best to stay on time. It is very important with time in this dance. We get to be on stage for the whole second act, and the thing that we get to stay on the whole second act, and I like this because you are able to see what older dancers do when they're dancing and what they do and how they do it. Well, I do not like it at all because I am very impatient and I cannot sit still, and I have to sit like this for an hour, and it is not comfortable. So we are the sugar fairies. The funnest part of the dance is when we get to go in a circle. The funnest part of the dance is when we get to go out and we get to do arabesque and smile at the audience. My favorite part of the dance is when we get a curtsy to Clara. I'm really excited because I get to give her the wand. My favorite part of the dance is the sugar fairy, the sugar plum fairy. The hardest part of the dance is trying to remember the candy cane part.
The hardest part of rehearsal for me so far is how long they are, because there's multiple of them in a day and they're all very, very long.
The hardest part for me is remembering all of the choreography for like all my parts, and then for Clara too, it's like a lot in my brain. It's hard for me to hold it all in my brain.
We're the bonbons. Our dance is like really energetic and like fun, and we jump a lot.
Mother Ginger has a humongous skirt we all have to go under. From what I've heard, it's very hot.
The hardest part in our dance was learning the timing.
The cartwheels are really fun, and I love doing cartwheels. And we also, well, it's all the tricks we really do.
I'm kind of nervous with these because it's my first time in the Nutcracker, so it's pretty nervous.